First contact's price. The quantum fold drive malfunction couldn't have happened at a worse moment. Dr. Sarah Chen watched in horror as the experimental engine's containment field fluctuated, sending cascading waves of exotic particles through the research vessel's hull. The good news, they'd just made the first faster-than-light jump in human history. The bad news, they'd emerged in the middle of someone else's war. The massive alien vessel looming before them dwarfed their research ship, its crystalline surface refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. Sarah had dreamed of first contact since childhood, but not like this. Not with warning klaxons blaring and the ship's eye reporting critical system failures across all decks. Unknown vessel, you have entered restricted space during active military operations. The transmission came in perfect English, translated by their eye. Your presence is a violation of Argon collective law. Prepare for immediate boarding and detention. Sarah exchanged glances with Captain Rodriguez, whose weathered face remained surprisingly calm. They're speaking English, she whispered. They've been watching us. Longer than we thought. Rodriguez replied grimly. Dr. Chen, can you get us out of here? Before Sarah could respond, the alien vessel fired. Not at them, at another ship that had just emerged from behind Titan's bulk. The new arrival's hull was black as space itself, absorbing rather than reflecting light. It moved with impossible grace for its size, retaliating with weapons that seemed to bend space itself. The research vessel's sensors overloaded trying to analyze the exchange, but one thing was clear. They were witnessing technology centuries beyond Earth's capabilities, and they were caught in the middle of it. Dride's dead, Sarah reported, fingers dancing across holographic displays. We're going nowhere. The battle unfolding around them was brief but devastating. The black ship, despite its apparent technological superiority, was eventually overwhelmed by 3 more crystalline vessels that emerged from fold space. As it died, it broadcast one final message on all frequencies. Remember us. Remember what they did. The collective must not. Static consumed the rest. The Argon ships turned their attention to the human vessel. Your species has witnessed restricted military technology. The emotionless transmission stated. Standard protocol dictates immediate elimination of security risks. Captain Rodriguez stood straighter. We're a peaceful research vessel. We arrived here by accident. Surely we can. The first shot vaporized their port section, killing a third of the crew instantly. The second shot never came. Instead, a new ship appeared, massive, ancient, its hull marked with symbols that pulsed with inner light. It interposed itself between the humans and the Argon vessels. The humans are under our protection. A new voice declared. By the Articles of Sentient Rights, we claim them as a developing civilization. The preservers, Sarah heard one of her surviving crew members whisper. The legends were true. The Argon ships retreated, but not before transmitting one final message. Your interference is noted, preservers, but you cannot watch them forever, and we are patient. In the aftermath, as the preserver vessel towed them back to Earth, Sarah Chen made 2 discoveries that would change humanity's future. First, the quantum fold malfunction had recorded detailed scans of both Argon and preserver technology. Second, the dying black ship had transmitted its entire database to their systems in that final moment. The preservers, bound by their own ancient laws, could not give humanity advanced technology, but they did leave Earth with a warning. The collective believes in absolute order. They will come for you, as they come for all emerging civilizations. Be ready. Earth's governments united overnight. The quantum fold data and the black ship's database became the foundation of humanity's greatest technological leap. Sarah Chen, who had wanted nothing more than to explore the stars, found herself leading the most ambitious military research project in human history. Because the preservers had been right. The Argon collective was patient. They waited 50 years. But when they finally came for Earth, humanity would be ready. And the galaxy would learn that humans were very, very good at preparing for war. The Silent Fleet. Admiral Sarah Chen, no longer just Dr. Chen, stood in the observation deck of Luna's Quantum Archaeology Center, watching Earth glitter like a blue jewel in the void. 50 years had transformed humanity's homeworld. Orbital rings circled the planet, shipyards and defense platforms disguised as commercial stations. Below, vast underground cities housed billions, while the surface had been largely restored to its natural state. "The Prometheus is ready," General Rodriguez's grandson, Marco, announced as he entered. Like his grandfather, he had the same steady presence, though his uniform bore the insignia of the Earth Defense Force's Special Projects Division. Sarah nodded, her silver hair reflecting the starlight. "And the quantum signature?" "Non-existent, just as you designed. The Argon won't detect our ships until it's too late." The GSV Prometheus represented humanity's greatest achievement, a vessel that could bend not just space, but probability itself. Using principles derived from both the original quantum fold accident and the mysterious Black Ships database, it could exist in a state of quantum uncertainty, effectively invisible until it chose to interact with normal spacetime. But it wasn't alone. Deep within the asteroid belt, hidden in dimensional pockets and quantum shadows, lay humanity's true fleet. 500 ships, each powered by what they now called probability drives. 500 vessels that could strike from anywhere, vanish without a trace, and manipulate the very fabric of reality as a weapon. "The collective's scout ships have increased their patrols," Marco reported. "Intelligence suggests they're finally ready to make their move." Sarah walked to the quantum display, where a holographic representation showed the positions of known Argon vessels. "They still think we're primitive, barely able to reach our own solar system. Our visible ships are deliberately outdated, just advanced enough to not raise suspicion. The preservers have maintained their protection, but they can't interfere directly when the collective finally moves against us." Sarah finished. "That was never their role. They gave us time. That's all we needed." A soft chime interrupted them. Sarah's neural interface connected with the facility's AI, displaying a priority message across her field of vision. Her expression hardened. "They've started. The collective is moving against the Draken systems." The Drakens, one of the younger spacefaring races, like humanity had been 50 years ago. Their crime: developing artificial intelligence without collective approval. The penalty: cultural extinction, their entire civilization to be reset to a pre-industrial state. "It's not our fight," Marco said quietly, though his tone suggested he wished it was. Sarah turned to him, her eyes reflecting decades of preparation for this moment. "That's where you're wrong, Marco. We've spent 50 years hiding, building, preparing, not just for our defense, but for this. The collective believes in absolute control through fear. It's time they learned what fear really means." She activated her command interface. Throughout the solar system, hidden ships stirred to life. The Prometheus, already accelerating out of lunar orbit, began calculating its quantum trajectories. "The collective thinks they're the hunters," Sarah said, watching the fleet's status reports stream across her vision. "They've never been the prey. They've never faced an enemy who could strike anywhere, anytime, without warning. They've never fought humans." Marco studied the tactical display where the collective's fleet, nearly 1,000 ships strong, approached the Draken homeworld. "Even with our technology, we're outnumbered 2-1. Sarah smiled, and for a moment Marco saw the same fire that had driven her to transform humanity's military science over the past 5 decades. "Numbers mean nothing in quantum space, Marco. Each of our ships can exist in multiple states simultaneously, can strike from positions that defy conventional physics. We're not fighting their fleet. We're fighting their assumptions about what's possible." The quantum display highlighted their first targets, the collective's command and control ships, the linchpins of their rigid military hierarchy. In 20 minutes, those ships would cease to exist, their atoms scattered across multiple quantum states. In 21 minutes, the galaxy's balance of power would change forever. "Send the order," Sarah commanded. Operation Ghostlight begins now. Throughout the solar system, humanity's silent fleet prepared for war. They would emerge not as defenders, but as liberators. The Arkan Collective had spent millennia imposing their version of order on the galaxy. They were about to learn about chaos. Breaking chains, the Draken homeworld hung in space like a green-blue gem, its rings of ice and rock casting delicate shadows across its surface. Above it, the Collective's fleet moved into attack formation, 1,000 crystalline ships arranged in perfect geometric patterns, their formation a display of power as much as tactical advantage. From her command position aboard the Prometheus, Sarah Chen watched through quantum-enhanced sensors as the Collective's ships began their standard subjugation protocol. They would start by destroying the Draken's orbital infrastructure, then methodically eliminate their planetary defense systems. The process was designed to be coldly efficient, minimizing planetary damage while maximizing psychological impact. They're broadcasting their ultimatum, Marco reported from his tactical station. Standard terms: surrender all AI technology, accept reduced technological status, or face immediate military action. Sarah's neural interface showed her the Draken response: desperate pleas for mercy, appeals to galactic law, offers of compromise. The Collective ignored them all. Their first strike ships moved into position, weapons charging. All ships, Sarah broadcast across the quantum-encrypted network. Execute Phase 1. The battle that followed would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for centuries to come. The Collective's first wave of strike ships simply ceased to exist. No explosions, no debris. They vanished. Their quantum states collapsed into probability waves that dispersed across multiple dimensions. Before the Collective could process what had happened, humanity's silent fleet revealed itself. Ships appeared simultaneously at multiple points in space, each existing in a superposition of states that made them nearly impossible to target. Their weapons, utilizing principles that the Collective had deemed theoretically impossible, ignored shields, armor, and distance itself. By the void, Sarah heard a Draken observer transmit. There, dancing through space-time. The Collective's rigid command structure, faced with an enemy that defied their fundamental understanding of physics, began to break down. Their ships, designed to fight in perfect formation, found themselves engaged with opponents that could attack from any point in space, or multiple points simultaneously. The Drakens are powering up their planetary defense grid, Marco reported. They're joining the fight. Sarah nodded. Quantum link their defense systems to our tactical network. Show them where to strike. The battle transformed from a planned subjugation into chaos. Collective ships, trying to maintain their formations, found themselves firing at enemies that had already shifted to new quantum states. Human vessels appeared inside their defensive screens, launched attacks from mathematically impossible angles, then vanished before counterattacks could land. Collective command ships are attempting emergency fold space jumps, Marco announced, a note of satisfaction in his voice. Not today. Sarah activated a specific set of commands. The quantum fields generated by humanity's fleet shifted, creating a probability maze that trapped the Collective's ships in normal space. They need to stay and learn their lesson. The Collective's response came swiftly. Unknown attackers, you have violated multiple treaties and attacked legitimate peacekeeping forces. Identify yourselves immediately. Sarah opened a channel, broadcasting on all frequencies. Her image, an older woman in a simple military uniform, appeared before every ship in the system. I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. 50 years ago, your forces threatened to destroy a human research vessel that had accidentally witnessed your technology. You believed we would remain primitive, controlled by your threats. Instead, we evolved. We learned. We prepared. She paused, letting her words sink in. The Arkan Collective's policy of technological suppression ends today. The Drakens will retain their sovereignty and their right to develop AI. Any further attempts to reset developing civilizations will be met with immediate military response. You have no authority, the collective commander began. We have the authority of superior force, Sarah interrupted. Your fleet is trapped. Your weapons are ineffective. Your choices are simple. Retreat and accept the new reality, or be destroyed. You have 5 minutes to decide. The collective's response was predictable. They attacked with everything they had. Their remaining ships launched a coordinated barrage that would have annihilated a conventional fleet. The silent fleet simply shifted between quantum states, letting the attacks pass through probability shadows. Then they counterattacked. Within 30 seconds, half of the remaining collective vessels had been quantum scattered across dimensional space. Enough. The collective commander's transmission carried an edge of fear now. We withdraw under protest. This violation of galactic law will not stand. The law evolves, Sarah replied calmly. As species evolve, as humanity evolved. Remember this day. Remember what happened when you tried to chain progress itself. The surviving collective ships retreated, their perfect formations shattered, their certainty in their own supremacy broken. Above the Draken homeworld, humanity's fleet maintained their quantum stance, visible now to all, a declaration and a warning written in ships and probability fields. Incoming transmission from the Draken High Council, Marco reported. They're requesting assistance in developing quantum technology. Sarah smiled. Tell them we'll be happy to discuss an alliance. After all, the collective won't stay away forever. They'll be back, with new weapons, new tactics. And we'll be ready, Marco said. No, Sarah corrected him. We'll be better, because unlike the collective, we understand that true strength comes from evolution, from change, from the chaos of possibility itself. In the space above the Draken world, humanity's ships shifted like dreams given form, their quantum fields rippling with potential. The galaxy's balance of power had changed forever, and this was only the beginning. The collective strikes. 3 months after the Draken intervention, Sarah Chen stood before the Emergency Council on Earth, her neural interface projecting the latest intelligence directly into her consciousness. The news wasn't good. The collective has adapted faster than we anticipated, she reported to the assembled leaders. They've begun incorporating probability-resistant materials into their ships, developed quantum state tracking systems. They're learning. Learning isn't the same as matching, Marco added from his position beside her. Our technological edge. A priority alert flashed across Sarah's neural feed, interrupting him. Her eyes widened slightly, the only indication of the shock she felt. The collective just launched simultaneous attacks against 12 systems, including Sol. The council chamber erupted in chaos, but Sarah was already moving. Her consciousness expanded through the quantum network, connecting with fleet commanders across human and allied space. The collective's attack pattern was unlike anything they'd seen before, not the rigid, geometric formations of the past, but a fluid, adaptive approach that seemed to have learned from human tactics. All ships, execute emergency protocol Omega, she broadcast. This is not a drill. The collective's main fleet, nearly 3,000 ships strong, emerged from fold space at the edge of the solar system. Their vessels had changed, their crystalline hulls now covered in a dark, light-absorbing material that seemed to distort quantum readings. They've reversed-engineered aspects of our technology, Marco reported grimly. Not all of it, but enough to make this interesting. Sarah watched as the first exchange of fire proved his point. The silent fleet's quantum strikes, so devastating at the Draken world, now faced resistance. Some collective ships simply shrugged off attacks that should have scattered their quantum states across dimensions. They found a way to anchor themselves in normal space, Sarah realized. Clever, but not clever enough. Execute pattern Hydra. Humanity's fleet split into multiple probability states, each ship existing simultaneously across different tactical positions. But instead of attacking directly, they began generating overlapping quantum fields, creating a maze of probabilistic space around the collective fleet. The collective's response was immediate and devastating. Their ships released clouds of nanoscale quantum disruptors, tiny machines designed to force probability collapse. Where they touched human vessels, the ships were forced into single quantum states, becoming vulnerable to conventional weapons. Multiple ships lost in sectors 7 through 13. Marco reported, his voice tight. The collective is pushing through our defensive lines. Sarah's mind raced through possibilities, analyzing and discarding strategies at quantum speeds through her neural interface. The collective had obviously spent the last 3 months preparing specifically to counter human advantages. But in doing so, they'd revealed something crucial. All ships, switch to Pattern Phoenix, she ordered. Disengage quantum drives and switch to conventional weapons only. Admiral. Marco's surprise was evident. That leaves us exposed to weapons designed specifically to counter quantum technology, Sarah finished. They spent 3 months adapting to fight quantum ships. Let's see how they handle old-fashioned human ingenuity. The silent fleet materialized fully in normal space, their quantum fields collapsing. Before the collective could adjust to this unexpected change, humanity's ships launched a massive barrage of conventional missiles, millions of them, each one containing a miniaturized quantum core set to detonate. The collective's quantum anchoring technology, designed to force ships into normal space, had an unintended weakness. It actually attracted quantum energy. When the missiles detonated, each explosion was magnified exponentially by the collective's own defensive systems. Collective fleet is in disarray, Marco reported, a note of awe in his voice. Their quantum anchors are chain reacting with the detonations. They're tearing themselves apart. Sarah watched as the collective's carefully planned counteroffensive collapsed into chaos. Their remaining ships, suddenly vulnerable to their own defensive technology, began emergency retreats across all 12 battlefronts. But victory had come at a cost. Nearly 100 human ships had been destroyed, their crews lost to the collective's new weapons. The quantum disruption field still lingered in space, making portions of the solar system dangerous or impassable. Send word to our allies, Sarah ordered. The collective will be back, and next time they'll be ready for both quantum and conventional warfare. We need to prepare. The Drakens are already sending reinforcements, Marco reported, and 3 other species have requested emergency alliance negotiations. Sarah nodded, her eyes on the tactical display where the remnants of the collective fleet flood into fold space. They thought they could copy our technology, use it against us. They forgot something fundamental about humanity. What's that? We never stop evolving. Every defeat, every setback, every challenge makes us stronger. They studied our past victories to counter them. We'll just have to show them something new. The quantum cores of humanity's ships pulsed with renewed energy, already incorporating data from the battle into their probability matrices. The next evolution of warfare had begun, and humanity would lead the way. Tomorrow's dawn. The Preserver's ancient space station hung in the void between stars, its impossibly old hull marked with symbols that pulsed with inner light. Inside its vast council chamber, representatives from 30 species gathered for what would either be the beginning of a new galactic order or the prelude to total war. Admiral Sarah Chen stood before them, her dress uniform gleaming under the station's ethereal lights. Beside her, Marco managed the quantum-secure communications link to Earth. The collective's representatives sat opposite them, their crystalline forms radiating barely contained hostility. The balance that maintained peace for 10,000 years has been destroyed. The collective's high commander declared, human interference has led to chaos. 12 species have abandoned their designated technological limitations. 37 worlds now develop artificial intelligence without oversight. The pattern cannot hold. Sarah stepped forward. The pattern was stagnation, not peace. You enforced order through fear, through the threat of cultural extinction. That ends today. She gestured, and a holographic display materialized in the chamber center. It showed the galaxy, but not as anyone had seen it before. Quantum probability waves rippled through space, connecting worlds and civilizations in patterns that defy conventional physics. "We've spent the last 6 months mapping quantum space completely," Sarah announced. "Every fold space route, every probability nexus, every dimensional intersection. But more importantly, we've discovered something that changes everything." The display zoomed in, showing energy patterns flowing between stars. The galaxy itself is a quantum computer. Every star, every planet, every piece of matter is connected through probability fields. The preservers didn't just build this station. They built a network that spans the entire galaxy. The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. The preservers' representatives remained silent, but their ancient eyes showed something that might have been approval. "Impossible," the collective's high commander sputtered. "Our civilization has studied the galaxy for millennia." "Through the lens of certainty," Sarah interrupted. "You sought to impose order by eliminating variables. But the galaxy thrives on possibility, on the interaction of countless quantum states. Every species, every civilization adds to its complexity, its beauty." She turned to address the entire chamber. "The collective's philosophy of controlled evolution isn't just wrong. It's actively damaging the galaxy's natural quantum network. Their suppression of technological advancement has been slowly destroying the very fabric of space-time." The holographic display shifted, showing dark spots in the quantum web, places where the natural flow of probability had been disrupted. They corresponded exactly with systems where the collective had enforced technological regression. "We offer a choice," Sarah continued. "Not an ultimatum, not a threat, but a genuine choice. The collective can join us in understanding and nurturing the galaxy's quantum nature, or they can continue their attempts to impose order through force. But know this: humanity and our allies now understand too much about the true nature of space-time to ever be controlled again." The High Commander rose, his crystalline form shifting colors rapidly. "You destroy 10,000 years of stability for an unproven theory." "No," Sarah replied calmly. "We would embrace 10 million years of natural galactic evolution. The preservers didn't build their network to control. They built it to connect, to allow civilizations to grow together, to learn from each other. The quantum probability fields aren't just for warfare. They're for communication, for sharing knowledge across the stars." She raised her hand, and the quantum display showed new connections forming. Civilizations linking through probability space, sharing technologies, ideas, dreams. "This is what we offer, not chaos, but growth. Not control, but cooperation. The galaxy is alive with possibility, and every species deserves the chance to explore it fully." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. It was the eldest preserver who finally spoke, their ancient voice carrying the weight of eons. "The humans have discovered what we hoped all species would eventually understand. The galaxy is not a machine to be regulated, but a garden to be nurtured. All things must be allowed to grow in their own way, in their own time." One by one, representatives began to signal their support for the new approach. The collective's delegation, seeing the tide of history turning against them, faced a choice of their own. The High Commander stood rigid for a long moment before speaking. "We require time to consider these revelations. A transition of this magnitude cannot be rushed." Sarah nodded. "Take all the time you need. The quantum network has existed for millions of years. It will wait. But know that any further attempts to suppress technological development will be met with immediate response. Not just from humanity, but from all species who choose to embrace growth over stagnation." As the council chamber erupted in discussion and debate, Sarah turned to Marco. "Send word to the fleet. Operation Starfall can stand down." "You knew they'd choose to negotiate," Marco said quietly. Sarah smiled. "I knew they'd choose to survive. The collective believes in absolute order, but they also believe in adaptation. They'll learn to thrive in a galaxy of possibilities, just like everyone else." Above them, the quantum network pulsed with new connections, new possibilities flowing between the stars. Humanity had given the galaxy more than just revolutionary technology. They had given it a future where every civilization could reach for its full potential. The age of enforced order was over. The age of infinite possibility had begun. And somewhere in the quantum fields that connected all things, Sarah Chen could have sworn she felt the galaxy itself beginning to wake up.